From the Carl Chevrolet Studios in West Des Moines, welcome to Iowa Live. I am Lou, and just realized something. It's the Ides of November. Not March, Ides of November, the 15th of November. And time to check in with our good friend Loren Merkle at Merkle Retirement Planning and find out something that is going to be going on in your life that you definitely need to plan for. And this could possibly be one of the most important things you plan for in retirement. Loren Merkle, how are you, sir?
Happy Monday, Lou. I'm doing really well. How are you?
We are great. Now, we are going to be talking about long-term care, and this is so important. Of course, people realize long-term care for your parents is so very important, but what about for yourself?
Yeah, November is National Long-Term Care Awareness Month, and it's nice to have that awareness because so many retirees are concerned about long-term care. There's a study that's conducted that says once you're 65 and older, you have a 70% chance of needing some kind of long-term care assistance throughout the course of your retirement. And so what people are concerned about is how is that going to disrupt their retirement? Number one, at current cost here in the state of Iowa of about $6,000 a month, upwards to over $10,000 a month, depending upon the type of care that you need. People are concerned, how do you afford that cost? But then if you're married, how does that disrupt your surviving spouse the rest of his or her retirement? So there's a lot of concerns around this, and it's all due to the increasing cost of long-term care.
All right, let's just do the math here real quick. We're talking approximately $100,000 a year for long-term care, and that is really a big chunk of your retirement, isn't it?
It certainly can be, and especially when you have to come up with that on a monthly basis, it can provide a lot of stress because you know you need the care. You need the care, you want to have the care, and you also have a lifestyle that's outside of that. So again, if you're married and one of the spouses needs that long-term care, the other spouse is still living their life. So there's additional expenses for that cost of living plus the long-term care. And then again, if you need long-term care for 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, that's $100,000 a year over that course of time frame. It can really erode what you have put away from a retirement savings standpoint.
Now, speaking of retirement savings, is it a doable process to be able to afford the long-term care for your spouse and then still be able to live your lifestyle?
It is if we plan for it. And so as a part of the overall retirement plan, we include the long-term care plan for that. And maybe you don't need long-term care, but it does provide some solace as you go through the course of your retirement, knowing that if a long-term care event takes place, here's how you're going to pay for it. And then here's how your surviving spouse is going to be able to continue to afford his and her retirement after you're gone or after you don't need that long-term care expense anymore. So we absolutely have to include long-term care risk and then how you plan to cover it within your overall retirement plan.
Hey, Loren, if you want to plan for long-term care like this, like you just got done mentioning, and you find out that it's not necessary, you have done things that you're supposed to do and things are going your way and you're not utilizing the long-term care, can you reallocate that money you put aside for that and just enhance the lifestyle you have?
That's a great question. That's going to be dependent upon how you choose to offset that long-term care risk. The old school traditional way of offsetting that risk is to purchase a long-term care insurance policy. And if you purchase a long-term care insurance policy, many of those policies, if you never need long-term care, that money is gone. It's gone to the insurance company of whom you chose to buy that policy through. There are a number of other ways you can offset that risk, though, and these are the ways that we typically would include within our family's plans. That if you don't need long-term care, you're going to use that money for your investments. You're going to use that money for your lifestyle throughout the course of your retirement. And then whatever money you don't use, whether it's for long-term care or just normal living, will pass on to your beneficiaries. So there's multiple ways you can offset that risk. And the important thing is understanding what's the good, what's the bad of each one of those different ways, and then making sure you're making the decision you're comfortable with and you understand how they work.
Well, it sounds like someone needs to sit down and have a conversation with our friends at Merkle Retirement Planning. How can somebody go about doing that?
It's very simple. All you have to do is go to merkleplan.com. You can sign up for a complimentary 15-minute retirement checkup phone call. You'll talk with one of our retirement planners, and we'll just talk about anything that's on your mind. What kind of concerns do you have? What kind of long-term care risk do you have? Different ways to offset it, and then we can take it from there. And again, that's at merkleplan.com.
Yeah, it really is a peace of mind when you realize that, yeah, you have a plan of action in place. It can really make you rest easier, can't it?
Yeah, it certainly can. That's one of the biggest reasons that people have anxiety as they go through retirement is all the unknowns. And long-term care is a huge unknown, not only from the cost, but also how it disrupts your lifestyle and the rest of your retirement. So it's nice to plan for it.
Yeah, just one of those extra things you can put aside and say, okay, I have that taken care of, and you can enjoy every day as you live it day by day.